Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I just want to hold it. This is huge. No, it's illegal. Take this away from me. Why my favorite?
All right. So, I'm psyched. We have a lot we're going to go over today, and we're going to get through a lot. Do you have 3 handouts in front of you? First of all, I'm Pam. Some of you don't know about my background. I spent about 16 years building a hair care chain. We had about 60 salons. When we sold, we were doing about 18 million in sales. Not all of that was in corporate sales. We had about 12 to 13 million in corporate sales, and we had about 5 in franchise sales. After that, I built a hair care company. Inside of that company, took it out and made a social venture of it, and it failed really beautifully after I got Nordstrom's letter of intent. So that was really fun, because you kind of think you know what you're doing every once in a while, but you don't really ever know it all or even parts of it. So, and then I started a small consulting business because I was raising 2 kids, single, because my life went through some white water. Yours might too, that you don't plan for. And I did a consulting practice and taught at a small college entrepreneurship. So I've worked for about 8 years with a couple thousand real small businesses because I wanted to learn after that startup failure. Gosh, how can you exit an $18 million company, only 5% of the population, and about 1% of women get to $1 million venture, and then really fail on your second venture? How does that happen? What piece was I missing? Anyway, I came here to help Dr. Ford with the revolution, and I also am working on a couple other ventures in my new book and working on a software startup. So that's what I do. I help serve around here, but I am an entrepreneur. True, 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 true. This is my passion. And really what I'm most passionate about is the fact that the problem, the opportunity that I'm captured by is that we spend years swallowing the blue pill, learning all these things so we can use our one precious life to help other people realize their dreams. And what I think we should all be doing is swallowing the red pill and learning how to solve problems and go after our own dreams. And that's why I spend so much time helping people with their ventures and their dreams, is because life is too short to be manual labor for somebody else's dreams. But we do not equip our citizenry with the tools. And we have been brainwashed to think that we don't know enough to be the person that brings the solution, or the person that leads the charge, and that we don't have enough time, or we don't have enough resources, and those are all lies, guys. Those are all false beliefs. Okay? So today, what we're going to talk about is, anyone read Man's Search for Meaning? Yeah, really great book. If you love being inspired, Viktor Frankl was in the concentration camps, lost most of his family. He came out and he became one of the most acclaimed, I'm going to call him a psychoanalyst, but it's much bigger than that. But one of his quotes in that book is, what men and women actually need is not a tensionless state, but rather the striving and struggling for some goal worth beat. What they need is not the discharge of tension at any cost, but the call of a potential meaning waiting to be fulfilled. Those ideas, that tension inside of you, maybe I won't live my dreams. What if my life doesn't work out? What if I never do anything that I really want to do? That tension inside you, that is your motivation. That is your motivation. So, you know, if you hang around with us at the Launchpad enough, you know that our first belief is that you get one precious life, and what you decide to do with it is probably the most important investment decision that you will make on this planet. And that you are all, though you have not been told maybe, CEOs. CEOs are the most important thing you can ever be CEO of, your life. And the sooner you start acting like it, the sooner we'll start treating like you like it. You are all CEOs, okay? So, I love this. So, Alice in Wonderland. Would you please tell me which way I ought to go from here? Asked Alice. That depends a good deal on where you want to get to, said the cat. I don't much care, said Alice. Then it doesn't matter which way you go. Why not you? Okay? Why not you? Why not now? Who says you have to be as old as me? Who says you have to be as rich as Richard Bronson? Who says anything? It is your time because you're breathing, and it is your turn because everybody gets a turn. We talk a lot about, who's read Jim Collins? I know Tyler has. Good to Great, other books he's written, but he talks about the hedgehog thing. We talk about it in here as your sweet spot. Some of you are saying, I just need to be more motivated. I need to be more disciplined. If only I was more like that person, I would be able to do this. I would challenge you, if you are not inspired by what you're doing, you have not found that one thing to fall down the rabbit hole on yet. Keep looking. When we get you to a place that you have lots of internal passion for, think of something you do right now, you spend time on, that no one has to pay you. Those things. That's where you should be looking to solve problems and bring value to the world right now. And if you don't have a lot of those places, you have experiential poverty. And experiential poverty is the worst poverty of all. I know. One of my children has it. But it's that thing of that you've got limited experiences because of what your life has consisted of to this point. And you have to open up and have more experiences to find that place that you're passionate about. Don't let fear make your life really, really narrow at this point. When we get you to that place that you have lots of passion and you become your best reflection of yourself in, then we can look for opportunities, and where there's opportunities to make money, design lives, or make world impact, okay? But first, we must get you in that place. Startup. What we're going to talk about today is a framework for taking your idea, any opportunity, and thinking through it. Now, normally, I can teach this in about 12 weeks. Today, we're going to take a real speedy trip through it, okay? Write this down, business model generation. No shots when I am turned around. I have to talk to my team. Business model generation. If you are a serious entrepreneur and you think you're going to do multiple fields, put your hands up. I hope you're all going to get that. Yeah, get that book then, because you want this book. This is the one book you want in your library. This is the one book you want to read. Business model generation with lots of examples. LeanStartup.com. Who's been here? Raise your hand. If you haven't, get there. Learn everything you can about Lean Startup. Okay, those are what the things we practice here. Those are the methodologies. Startup is 50% best practices and methodologies, and that's what we're talking. You'll see in your one-on-one coaching and when you work with us. And there's lots out there you can learn. You don't need us. I don't completely believe that, but you can learn a lot of this on your own. 50% of startup is art and timing. Right? There's a time for everything, and if you're trying to push something that is either too early or too late, that's an issue. But 50% of what we bring to the world is art. It's going to be very different based on you, your team, the opportunity, and the timing. Okay? So don't let anybody tell you there's one recipe. Okay? Startup is search. Say search.
Search.
Say it loud. Search. Search. It's search, you guys. Relax. It's not writing a business plan. We're searching for a repeatable, scalable business model or social model. We're in search of finding something that will scale and that will add value. Okay? That's why in startup our goal is, there's a continuum of time and money, right? And in startup we believe there's a limited amount of time and money, and so we're trying to condense things in and spend as little bit of money and as little bit of time to get as high a level of potential success as possible before we start investing money, and time. Okay, that's the bottom line of what being startup is about. Okay, validate everything. How many people here have worked with the business model canvas before? I love this. Okay, good. Okay, startup is not a smaller version of business. This is why we don't start a startup with a plan. Okay? It's like going into a first date and saying, okay, well, I want to have this kind of children and I want to have this kind of... Who does that crap? Okay, startup is just an idea. Hold it lightly, okay? And let's see what comes and evolves through it. Who's a business student here? Do not start with a business plan. Do not write a business plan. Do not write a business plan. Do you hear us? No. We want you to invest your time in seeing if a business plan or executive summary and financial modeling is going to be worth your time. Because you might iterate into 17 different things by the time it's time to do that. Okay? Say sequence.
Sequence.
Okay. Anybody played that game before?
Yes.
Your mom has probably made you play it at Thanksgiving. I make my kids play it on Thanksgiving and they're okay. So sequence is a game, but sequence is also, what does sequence mean? When I say sequence to you, you think
Series of events.
series of events, step by step. One of the things we do, that working with thousands of startups, we not only hear one step, but individually as us coaches, we understand that sequence is the most important thing we can bring to you. Because too many times you guys come in and you're working on something way out of sequence that all this other stuff is going to inform. So working on the website right now without validating, without talking to your client and doing any of this is really what? A waste of your valuable resources. But you're a brander and you're a marketer and you love doing this. We always go to what we love when we start doing it. This is why 50% of startups fail. Okay, sequence is an important thing. When you build a house, do you start with decorating it? When you start with the house, foundation. Think of that in startup too. There's foundational steps. Okay, foundational steps, and then we build on top of that. Okay. I'm only saying this because what? Because the most precious thing in the room is your life. And the most precious thing about your life is that you got some time, and you got some health, and you got some resources. Right? So you want to be a good steward of those. Your business model, let's call this a business model, is the vehicle that transports you from where you are to where you want to go. I like to keep it simple. I understand complexity. I had a team of 500. I had 60 salons. I had $250,000 a week in cash coming in for that business. There is complexity there. But when we start with an idea we want to keep it very, very simple. I want you to all become specialists at modeling. Somebody tell me your favorite business right now. Bill.
Stardust Coffee.
Stardust Coffee. Okay. So the business model is what?
They sell coffee and books.
They sell coffee and books. Okay. That's their key activities.
Yeah.
And what makes them different?
They're very inclusive with the community. They do a lot of extra things that other coffee shops don't.
So they have some key activities that they do different in the community. They're community oriented.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody else, favorite business? Yeah.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Okay. So what makes them different?
Their customer service is unparalleled.
Customer service makes them different. Okay. And then what do they sell? Chicken.
Yeah.
And who are their clients?
College students.
College students and people that help them out. What else? Fast, chicken, and what? Kind of cheap,
Yeah.
right? Let's think about it. What? Is it expensive?
Yeah.
Okay, see, I'm not their target market because I'm a... So I don't know what their price point is, right? Okay, but look I want you to see, it's not neurosurgery here. You know this. You know why you know how to do a business model? Because you're clients. So when you walk out of this room today, everywhere you go, I want you to start penciling out the places you're spending money. Pencil out. Take 5 minutes and write down their business model. Take 5 minutes and think through it. The more you think through other models, the better you're going to get at modeling, the better and easier it's going to come to you to think through every opportunity that comes your way. And you're going to have a lot of them. Trust me. Okay, so today we're working on this. Don't let the verbiage freak you out, because academia always tries to use words to make it sound special. Okay? So, we start with something called the value proposition. I've never understood this, and I've taught marketing at the MBA level. So, I don't understand that. Value. When I say I'm going to create value, what does it mean to you? Do something that matters, right? You need to do something that matters that would motivate somebody else to either give you what? Money or eyeballs? Attention, right? So I'm going to get you something that's so valuable to you, you will either invest your time, your eyeballs, your money, or your resources. Cool? You guys game on. That's all business. That's all startup is. Identifying a place where I can add value. My value might be hooking you and you up, and because you guys never knew of each other, that's valuable, right? I might be able to take a slice of your deal, right? I might be able to add you to my network of other people that can help other people. Can we add value right here, the three of us? If we got in a room for an hour and started thinking about what we're good at and what problems really piss us off, do you think we could come up with a solution? We could add value. That's how it's done. Keep it that simple. Value proposition has two elements: the problem or opportunity. When we became legal in some states, like my home state, Washington, okay, that laws changed so that something came into the marketplace, and we call that what? Opportunity. Prohibition, and then what's happening with weed right now? Similarities, opportunities. I want you to understand that it's not always a problem. Sometimes a technology, Apple Pay, is going to change mobile commerce. It's going to change. Oh, do you know how many mobile payment places are probably going out of business right now? So what technology, what laws, what regulations in the areas that you're interested are changing, and as they change, whole new opportunities come available. Katrina, disasters create need and opportunities, right? What hit New York, what, 2 years ago now? Opportunity, right? Disaster. So I want you to think of yourself as a solutionist. I coined a word, you can look it up. When I make words, I put them in Urban Dictionary. It's called solutionaryism. Solutionaryism is the commitment to show up to be a solution to the problems around you. That's how you become the budding entrepreneur you are. You just start looking for lots of problems or lots of change that you can add value to. Does that make sense? Keep it that simple, guys. It's that simple. We start with the value proposition, okay? That's where we start. We then go over and we look at who the customers are. In Chick-fil-A, on campus, who are the customers? Students, right? Stardust, who's their client?
Hipsters.
Hipsters! That's why I don't know about it. I actually have been there, but I was invited by a hipster. Okay, so that's customer segment. Okay? Then I jump over, because I use this tool how I want to use it. Nobody tells me how to use a business tool. I will tell the tool how I will use it. So then I come over here and I go key activities. Because if I understand what makes me unique, and I understand who it is, I know, you heard me just ask him, all I need to know about your venture is 3 things. Problem, solution, clients, and what are the key activities you're going to build the whole business on to solve this. Game on, right? Say amen. Amen. Say it louder. Amen. Say it with an accent. Amen. All right, because that's it. You guys, they made you say you got to go get an MBA and do all these things and read all these books, and you don't. You got to get that down. You got to get so good at that you will have multiple opportunities to invest your time and resources in. Game on? Game on. Okay. Red pill or blue pill? Red pill. Okay, we're going to start playing now. Thank you. Okay, so today what we're going to do next is we had a volunteer that's going to walk through their business model canvas and their assumptions. So what I want you to do while you're doing this, how many people have an idea here or a venture they're working on? So while we're going through this together up here, it's like church, you're going to be sitting in and thinking of your own sins. You're thinking, I know exactly everything about you, but it's really I don't. And I'm going to go through this one venture so you can be thinking of your venture. And you can be thinking of all the questions for your venture. Does that make sense? Okay, so your handouts, let's do this. Why don't you, is it Jeff? John, sorry. Even when you're helping me, I screw up your name. Go ahead, John, and sit right over there. Take your chair. Okay, handouts, so that you know where you're at. We're going to go in, we're going to tackle this sheet first with him, with John. While we're tackling it on his venture, you're going to be doing what? Writing down your stuff, okay? Then, we're going to start filling out this sheet, business model assumptions. As I'm working through each box here with him, you're going to be what? Working through each box on your idea. Those of you that don't have an idea, raise your hand. It's really important because I can help you right now. If you don't have an idea, raise your hand. Okay, make up an idea. For the next 40 minutes, make up this weird idea. Maybe Beyonce's doing it. Maybe whoever's doing it. Maybe it's already a business out there, just so you practice this, because I can tell you one thing. If you will not let your neurons work with me right now, I cannot reposition them and attach them to things you're going to need when you go out of here if you're really serious about this shit. If you're not serious about it, don't do it. Because you won't get any better. And I can't force you to really swallow the red pill and believe that this is possible for you. But I know it to be true. But you've got to build the resourceful muscle. Okay? Okay. You got what you're doing? I got what I'm doing. How much time do we have to make this magic happen?
35 minutes.
Good. Exactly perfect. Okay. So, his business model assumptions are behind him. You might want to sit like this so you can see the board. You got to give him a hand for just coming out. Right? Okay, put your back here. Dear darling, come into my office, sit like this, okay? That way you can kind of also see this, right? Because we did all this work. Okay, good. So I just want to see here. First of all, can somebody read that for me?
Not wasting your life. Get to go or no go. As fast as possible.
Isn't that how you feel when you're spending money on a date? Girls, isn't that how you feel when you're out there spending money on the guys? Like, get to go or no go, baby. But I don't want to keep spending money on you. I got to figure out go or no go. In startup, it's go or no go. I want to go further and invest time and money because it's getting more interesting, or I want to cut my losses. Who gambles here? Who day trades here? Right? We want to stop losing fast. In startup, we want to stop losing our precious time and our precious brain cells and resources if we really should be working on another idea. It's not that we're giving up. It's not that they're quitting. Quitters quit things every day. Quitters are the smartest people ever because they quit something that's a no-go so they can start something that's a go. Okay, so let's start with value proposition. Okay, so we're going to go back here and look here. So how do you, so when I say value proposition, I'm going to separate it into problem and solution. Okay, so first of all, tell us a little bit about what your venture is, a couple sentences.
All right, so my venture is basically mass snap photography. So it's a way to get people cheaper, quicker photography, and the way that I can cut down costs is by shortening the time so that they don't have to go out and pay for professional photographers that might cost like $200, $300.
Okay, mass snap photography, that's the solution. And if mass snap photography, your idea, was a recipe, and we were going to make it for dinner, and we were taking the first ingredient that was the most important because it solved a problem or something, and we were to say there's these different little ingredients, I could call those elements of my solution, attributes of my ingredient, that match the problems I see in the market. So John, right? Okay, so when you came up with mass snap photography, you must have seen an opportunity or problems in the market. What's the biggest problem you saw?
One of them is people taking selfies on their cameras.
Okay, so people taking selfies.
Well,
And what problem is that? What real problem is that?
well, people not having professional or nicer photos on their profiles.
Okay, see how that happened? You don't know what you're going to say until you say it. The writers have to write really shitty first drafts, so their second draft is a little less shitty, and then third draft is only shitty, and then fourth draft is shitty, and by the time you get to six, wow, bam, national bestseller, you better wait, it's coming. Right? Okay. So you've got to start saying it so you can figure out what you're saying. So he did that exactly for you. So what he said is the real problem is people don't have professional photos, right?
Yeah, nicer looking photos.
Okay, and then what was the second thing? When you think about what you're doing, what's the second thing you're solving? What's the second problem or opportunity?
That photography costs too much.
Okay. Professional, good photography is expensive. Okay? So I got this. People don't have professional photography, especially college students. 2, they don't have it because it's expensive. Right? Is there any other problem or opportunity that you're seizing with mass snap photography?
I mean, time constraints sometimes. Going to photographers takes a long time, and people just want a profile picture, or they just want,
It's inconvenient to go to a photography studio, right? Time, right? Okay. Did you see how you did that? What are the problems or opportunities that you're capitalizing on, that you're going to solve, right? Maybe that's confusing for you. Great, hold it right there. Let's switch it and go the other way. Okay, if you were explaining to me the three things, you know how Chick-fil-A does chicken, and it does customer service, and it does medium price. You know how it does that, and it makes it different. It's its secret sauce. It's valuable. What's your bam, 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 that together is like, wow?
The three reasons that they would like.
What makes you different?
Okay, affordability.
Number one, what's the thing that makes you most different?
Affordability.
Okay, so do you have a specific affordability? Is it a certain amount of money? Is it a price range? Is it?
Yeah, right now it's $30 for 15 minutes. Snap version.
$30 for 15 minutes.
So
Professional photographer.
More affordable. That's
Okay. So, did you see how we got specific? At first, we're saying affordable, but if you've already decided that you think it should be a certain price or something, be as specific as you can here. Problem number two was affordability, right? So this is his solution. Mass snap photography, $30 sessions, 15-minute photography. What's the second thing you do that's most different? That makes you different? Grammar goes all out, you know, passion takes over.
So
Okay.
it was cost, and then it was time constraints. But it's done quicker, so you don't have to go for like 3 hours.
It's not only done quicker, what else? Don't you come to them?
Yeah, we come to them as well. They come to us too.
Okay, so talk to me about the model. So what's the next thing that makes you different?
I mean, we meet them where they are.
We meet them. So tell me about that. What is that?
Yeah, I guess flexibility.
Okay, so I pay you 30 for 15 minutes, and I tell you where I want to shoot. So you do the traveling. And you will travel to anywhere I want for $30 for 15 minutes?
Yeah. Well, on campus right now. We're starting on campus.
That's what I was trying to get to. You will meet them anywhere on campus. Specifics, okay? I want you to see this. You don't know what's different about it until you start talking about it. It's $30 for 15 minutes, professional photography at UCF. We will meet you anywhere on campus. You don't have to drive anywhere to take your shots, right? Okay, what else makes you different?
We have. Well, I'm gonna have a team so that we'll be able to meet. Well, not besides location, like we'll have more times to meet. Because sometimes photographers they get really busy and have a lot of clients. So since we'll have more photographers, we can basically schedule like more times during the week.
Scheduling flexibility. You mean got it? You got it? That's the first thing you do on your idea. Okay? So, we just did this. Okay? We didn't fill out the clients, but he went down and he told me the problems and the pain that he had identified. Okay? And then we walked through what his solutions are going to be. $30 for 15 minutes. Meet them on campus at UCF. Scheduling flexibility, many photographers. Okay? So we filled out the first 3 problems and the first 3 solutions. Okay? Say value proposition. Really comes down to what makes you different, right? So if we said Chick-fil-A was chicken with customer service, right? Stardust, we said, is community and hipster, coffee, something like that, right? Experience. For him, the value proposition is quick professional photos on campus. Right? Something in there, what makes him different. I want to just get you thinking, did that help? That is the first place you go every time somebody says, oh, that might be a good idea. Okay, good, let's talk about it. What are the problems? What are the assumptions? What are the problems or the opportunities? What do we think we could bring to solve it? That's where we start. That's where you start with every idea. That's the first step of idea feasibility. Okay? And on the business model canvas, they call it the value proposition. Well, it's not complete because you can't think it out. The value proposition here is professional photography in 15 minutes, $30 session on campus. Right now, that's how we wrap it up there. Okay? Cool? Any questions on that?
So, question. So you suggest we use this to form the final statement, like how 1, 2, 3, the elevator pitch, so to speak, of our value proposition.
Right. Because say the word assumption. Now say it like really exaggerating the ass part and then under exaggerating the umption. So let's try. Assumption. Again. Assumption. That is what you are when you take assumptions and start acting on them. So these are all guesses. These are all guesses. So even, and this is what Hoelzle said the other day, oh my gosh, you know, it's so funny because the value proposition is an assumption too. And until we're all the way validated down here, and clients are throwing money at us or time or eyeballs, all this is guessing. All this is guessing, which is fine. That's what it's supposed to be. But that's why you don't want to throw tons of money or time at it right now. You want to go out and test your assumptions. His statements about problems, those are assumptions. His statements about solutions, those are assumptions of what the market wants. We'll talk about testing that, right? We'll talk about testing that before we build a website, before we hire staff, before we buy any equipment. Fast and cheap, right? Okay. This is another way to think of it. Define the problem and opportunity. It's another way to look at it. For some of you that like words better than visuals. Define the solution. These are assumptions. We will go test them. It's not your pet reindeer or your grandfather, your neighbor, or even your second cousin. It's about the client. Be obsessed. Design everything with the client. Design with them, right? The big tech boom that was a bust was because people were writing 20,000 lines of code in the back room without the user. And they hadn't confirmed that this was a good investment of time or resources or millions of dollars of VC money. So now we bring the client in early and we get them up close, and with an open heart, an open mind, and an open will, we design solutions with our clients. Okay? Because we're focus-centric, develop the solution with them. So now we're going to come over here. Who, for this business, for your business, you're thinking your business, right? You have two options right now. You can fill out the client part of this, or you can come over here and fill out the customer segment part here. Actually, wait on this part. If you really need a place to put it on this sheet. Identify who your customer segments are. This is the best sheet. Okay, so for mass snap photography, who's our target? Who are our client segments?
Right now, I would say college students who just want better social media brands.
Are you doing this on multiple college markets?
Starting UCF, I want to.
So what kind of students are your target market?
UCF students who want better brands.
The more specific you can be right now, because you're going to test this assumption. So UCF students. Now, have we gotten any clearer, or have we gotten any more fine-tuned on who the client is? What do you think here? Go ahead and read that. College students are
Better social media brands.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's be more specific. Who might really need who might really need this? Help us. Don't raise your hand, I just think it's way too hierarchical. Just shout.
Students looking to get better professional development on their LinkedIn site.
LinkedIn profile pictures. Market that. Okay, what else? What? Why college of business?
Because a lot of them are business students that are trying to get their MBAs and stuff, and that the system and stuff like that, or the profiles.
Okay, so portfolio.
People who are graduating.
People who are graduating, resume pictures,
Yeah.
right? Business cards.
Startup CEOs.
Startup CEOs.
Halloween costumes.
Halloween costumes. Absolutely, I bet we could do a lot around Halloween and Valentine's. See how we were going down one vertical? Professional, 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 right? But there's all these things of couples, and there's all these things of events. Now, you don't know if that's who he wants to target, but when we're playing up here in ideation, we ask ourselves, who would need a high-quality 15-minute photography sessions for $30? Who on this campus? And could we start to get a whole list of target segments, right? And then we could go test and see which were our best clients. Most businesses have more than one client segment, right? So do you see that? The Halloween person and the LinkedIn profile, two different segments. They might both use the same service initially, but they have different reasons they're using. Does that make sense? Okay, that's all client segment means. Be as specific as possible about the different types of clients that might use your idea, because we need to go out to them and talk to them. That's all we need to say right now. Okay, so now we're going to think about how we would test that. Say assumption again.
Assumption.
And say it, exaggerated.
Assumption.
Okay, because we don't want to be in yes, we're going to come over here and design tests without spending a lot of money or time. So, for us to test John's belief about what are the problems of UCF students, and we just made a list of, let's say, 10 different students leaning in, seniors getting jobs, Halloween parties, couples, graduation. We have this list, and he said these are their problems, right? So now, to test that, you said you would do what?
Well, I went and talked to people in the union, like 80 students, and got the percentage of how many would do it.
And what was it?
A lot of people said yes, and then 24 people want to do it.
You got 24 people who signed up. Okay, now just think about that. What if we could all start a business that way? Our first one. That we actually go find the target market before we invest anything. We actually start selling something or doing something before we build any infrastructure. If your generation will do that, you will bring America back, and you will provide opportunities for middle America that is getting decimated right now. You must think innovatively. You don't need all the resources. You need to be curious. You need to find problems. You need to go just start solving. Okay? Okay. That's huge. Okay? So if I get 24 people that say no, did they give you money?
No.
Stay right there. Okay. So we can say, so we're still excited. We're still excited. Okay, because this looks like this might not be a dud from the beginning. So now we go, okay, I went out and talked to 80 people. I want you to get this. The first thing you do is you get out of the building. You take your assumptions about the problem and you go find your target client and you talk to them face to face. You use SurveyMonkey. You get feedback. You find out if that problem is really a problem. You find out how they're solving that problem right now. You find out if there was one thing you could do for them that would change everything, what it was. You don't even have to have your solution together. You go have those conversations. We call it 100 conversations. Clients, strategic partners, key partners, or users. What's the difference between a client and a user?
The client doesn't necessarily use it. So it could be someone that goes to their business
Facebook. The user is who? Us. We're free. The client is who? Advertiser. The data they're getting and the targeting from our eyeballs drives the value to the client, finances the users. Every business model is different. You might have users and clients, strategic partners, you might be a license. You can go in a million different ways, but if you can think very clearly about users, clients, and partners, you understand that you might have to have conversations with all of them, right? Okay. So, really good feedback. 80-24. So now what will we do to really validate he's got a solution? Go out to those 24 and say, write the check and let's schedule you. And if they write the check and he actually takes them, we launched and are now Dropbox, right? 330,000 signups. Dropbox validated by getting emails. They didn't build anything. Test your ideas through one-page landing pages, through surveys, but the questions you ask are really important because you can ask really unreliable questions. And don't bring your solution in. He went out with his solution. If he was working with us earlier, he would have gone out with the problem first, then came out with the solution in a landing page, okay? But there's no right or wrong. He tested his solution. He's really testing his solution. He didn't test his problem. Most innovative companies will start here before they've designed the solution because the client's going to tell you a lot of things. You got to know if I went and had different discussions with different of these, we could find out who has the most demand, and do you think they might have some different needs on what the solution is? Do you think this product might have different products for different people? The soon to graduate to get a job. Right? You can see how that'll come, but we won't complicate that here now. The basic idea you got is you have an idea with problem and solution, and those are assumptions. And you need to fast go test those. Who do you test the assumptions with? The clients, the strategic partners that are going to help you bring the solution, or the users. Do we all have that? You all just got your MBA in startup. That's the core of startup, and I'm not kidding. Really not kidding. If you will practice this, you will be unstoppable because you will get your opportunity. The timing will be right on some venture, but you must get this. You must get this piece. This is the piece most of my peers do not have. This is the piece most of the people teaching this don't have because they haven't been out in the market. They don't understand the real trick to capturing value. And once you do, you can build anything around it. Find a problem you can solve now. Start solving it. That's the thing. Okay, so we understand a problem solution. We understand customer segments. The next thing I want you to learn is key activities. Chick-fil-A. What are their key activities to keep that business? We said what makes them different? What else? I will forgive you for yawning. You guys got to stay light. You got to stay light. Come on. Okay. What we said? What makes Chick-fil-A different?
Checking the customer service, immediate price.
Immediate prices, good quality.
And customer service was the first thing that came out, right? Okay. This is important. Okay. So the key activities for that company to be successful have been what? Customer service training. Customer service training, culture, beliefs, values, hiring, development of managers, coaching, right? That's a culture thing. That's their key activity in that business. What's their second key activity in that business to make it successful? Think about what kind of business it is.
Efficiency.
Yeah, probably food cost and food prep. That's their technical vertical of their business. And the third key activity for that business to scale was what? Yeah, I'm thinking if we put people in customer service, it was probably marketing, right? Now, that we said affordability. So the ability to buy high quality had to be in there somewhere, right? Okay. You got how you thought through that, right? Think on your own ideas. What makes you different? What are your assumptions? That's going to tell you what your key activities are, at least in our assumption. So your key activities in this business model are going to be what? You wrote them down here, darling.
Yeah, no. Well, I had different ideas of what the key activities
Oh, now? Okay.
Well, no, I did.
So now you're thinking about it differently? That's okay.
Yeah.
Iteration, we're in a constant state. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know so much that it is such a blast to get up every day. Because I know I'm going to get to know more. Do not feel that you have to know a lot to do this. Actually, the more humble and open-minded you are, the more you don't know, the wiser you are, because you're going to be really open to being taught. And the market and your consumers and your targets are going to teach you, baby, what they want, and if you will listen, all your dreams, right? So it's when you know too much, how it goes before thee, and it's so true in business, right? We think we know. Well, if you're financing the party, then know all you want. If somebody else has to finance it, we might want to talk to them, right? That's the attitude to have. And you'll build something incredible. Listen. Really listen. Okay, so what are you thinking?
Well, it has to do with like solving problems, and then there's stuff like my assumptions of what they want to get out of my business.
Okay, you're going too deep. We got to stay at 101. Okay, 101, key activities. I am taking pictures of UCF students. They're paying me $30. It's 15 minutes, and it's flexible. What's the key activities in that business?
Going out and taking cheap pictures at a flexible.
Think about his model. What's the number one thing? So,
Price.
Yeah.
photographers, hiring,
Convenience.
quality, right?
Convenience or quality.
Scheduling. This whole scheduling tool. If there's that much demand, the scheduling and getting people to scheduling and logistics. So how do I sign up? Can I sign up on can I do it yourself sign up online, right? Can we onboard the money? What's the efficiencies? And then the real crux of this is what? A quality picture for $30. So who's the key element here? You got it, girlfriend. The photographers, and then right behind it is the enterprise and the scheduling and the logistics system to let me scale this if I'm managing multiple photographers. Game on? Your price, you're going to figure out your price, okay?
You just gave an example where there was a difference between users and clientele. So like Facebook, what would their key activities be? Like, would it be like how to better serve the users or the clientele?
Yeah, you know this, so let me walk you through this really quick, and you're going to tell us. Okay. The value proposition for Facebook is what? The problem they solve is what? No, don't go no, you know. Okay, it's connectivity, right?
Yeah.
They let you and me connect.
For free.
And they let you and me share our stories.
Right.
Right? So what they get is what?
A lot of people.
A lot of data.
Right.
Right? Okay, so the value proposition for you and me is connect to your friends free. The value proposition, he just led to something, could be different for each target. Your user, it's a different value proposition. The advertiser, what's the value proposition for me? What does Facebook give me?
Clients.
Return on investment for $10. I can get someone to buy my $200 cruise, right?
Yeah.
So return on investment, right? Affordable advertising, micro niche markets because of the data. Okay, so this platform is providing different value to the user and the client. That's usually always true, and the strategic partner. Does that help?
Right.
Okay. So now, photographers, hiring photographers, a scheduling and logistics, and then an onboarding. How are they going to sell and get the money and market, right? Those are really the three parts of the business. We cool there? How would we test that those are the key activities. What is, when we think about testing the key activities, what is that about? Well, the problem is you can't go too far out on this stuff. You have to test the problem and come back and learn from it. You have to then go out and test the solution idea you have without spending any money. And then you're going to learn a bunch and reframe it. And then you're going to be able to start testing the customer segments. Is this solution right for each of the segments? So when I look at the business model canvas, it is not sequential, and this is what you need to understand. The sequence is, I found a problem. I need to go find out if who I think has this problem thinks it's a problem. 1. That's how I test it. They tell me what my real problem is. I come back and I reframe it, right? So then 2, I take their ideas and I come up with this new solution, right? Now I don't want to spend any money, but I want to go out with a survey or a one-page landing site like Dropbox did, or a one-page website, or a prototype, and I want to go in and see if people give me orders or give me their email and get ready to do this, right? And then their feedback's going to help me know what to do it to the next level, right? Now I have enough information to do a prototype or an MVP. I can actually make something and start practicing. But I really shouldn't be spending money until I have those steps done. Does that make sense? Or minimal? Does that help you?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so now what's going to happen is there's a lot more boxes in this we're going to go through quickly. But unless you validated this, and then have built out a prototype and have people onboarding to just test if they will spend $30, even if you don't have your solution made, you're not going to be testing the rest of it. Does that make sense? Okay, let's make sure though, these are the 4 boxes that if you learn this thinking, you got it. This is where it's at, okay? But they're all assumptions, right? And we have to test them. Let's quickly go here. What's a key partner? That's a person that's going to help you with your business. Who are the key partners in this business?
I want to start out with so really knowledge about photography and then some more photography. So president of the photography.
Okay, so president of the photography club. Who else would be a good key partner for him on campus?
Everybody who works here as
Career services.
Career services. He should go over there and say, when are your resume training things? So career services would be a great partner for him. I think of key partners in, are they going to help me make it? Are they going to help me market it? So where do I need help? What else, Trixie?
A lot of the ROS clubs, just all of them in general, because I've heard a lot of them speak about wanting photographers there at the club.
Registered student organizations, RSOs. Okay, all I want you to see is that's what key partners are. They either help you make it, they help you fulfill it, put it together, they help you bring it, they help you sell it, they help you market it. Who are your key partners? Now, that's an assumption that we would have to what? Write a test for. We would actually test that with conversations, and we can have just our little overview, our paragraph overview, or our one-page landing thing, and we could go up and have conversations with these people and get their feedback to see if they're going to be partners. True or false? Would that cost us a lot? Look how much you can do with just a little elbow grease, right? When you really think like that, okay? So, key resources. What are the key resources you need? That can be IP, that can be people, that can be expertise. Okay? So, what are the key resources in your business that you've got to have?
Cameras, so the photographers will have their own cameras. And then bikes to get around campus, and I'll use the UCF bike rentals and different locations, set locations, so I can give them examples.
Okay? What else does he need to add to this? Yeah, payment method. And like, am I going to sign up? And what's the scheduling tool? And how do I keep track of everybody? And how do I know as the client what's available? So this back end thing, how that gets done, it might be very simple initially. Might be somebody on the phone. But we got to think about the key resources. And how do you think about your key resources? You think about the key activities that drive your difference. And this is what is the magic. The more time I spend up here validating this, the better I get an idea of what I'm doing, the faster all the rest of these tests go. Does that make sense? Because this keeps iterating and it changes everything on the canvas, but it all comes back to the heart of this. Sometimes I'm different just because of this. Costco. What did Costco do that made it different? Got rid of all the middlemen. So it became the channel for the most highly desired products and the channel, how I get my solution to the client. Say that, how I get my solution to the client, right? His is how he gets his solution. There's an individual photographer, but there's also a system where he has to schedule somebody, right? Costco's whole differentiation, they made their whole company different by coming in and getting rid of the middleman so they can give us really good prices on what? Luxury high demand goods. So I'm going to bring in those jeans, but I'm only going to bring in size 34 and 36. I'm going to bring in those boots, but I'm only bringing in size 12 and size 11. So they got very clear on their key activities. The highest quantity sizes in the best quality for the lowest price. And that drove the model. The model was really about eliminating the middleman. You can do one thing different and do it really good, and it causes everything to change on your model. You don't have to innovate in every square. Okay? Your channel is going to be what? How you're going to deliver your services by photographers. Yeah, it's do it yourself, right? It's a personal service. Okay? So his channel is direct. He has a photographer taking pictures, right?
And also that they need to add their Facebook and tag so their clients see what they're doing.
That's marketing. Stop. Okay. We think way too far. Stay up. An entrepreneur has to do two things. They have to get really good with the telescope and really good with the magnifying glass. We're almost done. But this is the problem. Most of us are either telescope people or magnifying glass people. Those of us that have been in operations and details, we're magnifiers, man. We get our magnifying down and we can get down into the detail and we are the best of the best. Those of us that are telescope, we're really good with the vision. Really great entrepreneurs can go up at 30 and 50. This is where you innovate. You keep an aerial picture, then you dive down, and then there are times where you have to get into the details, okay? So right now, when you're modeling, you stay up high, but when you go into conversation and test, you're coming way down, right? Then you're going back up to design. Okay, customer relationships. So channels, how are you getting your value to the client? That's your channel. Okay, that's your, we used to call it distribution. You might think of also what your channel is to market things. So you need to write that down. How are you going to get your product or service to market? And how are you going to promote it? Your revenue streams are pretty clear. What up here drives money? In Facebook, it is what? Advertising. For you, it's going to be the photo sessions, right? What is it for you? What's the revenue stream? And who's paying? And how much? You will need to test that assumption. What are your costs? Where do your costs come from, guys? Tell me where they come from. They come from the key activities to drive the difference. Should you be running financials if you haven't validated an MVP? Now you understand what we've been doing mostly wrong in business for most of the time because we mostly go through business school and we learn how to plan. Have an action orientation. Don't do any of the big heavy lifting, planning, or financial modeling until you got an MVP that people are signing up for. Does that make sense? Okay. Customer relationships. Chick-fil-A. They are trying to get what kind of customer relationships? Absolutely. Loyal, repeat ones. We have customer acquisition costs, might cost me $5 to get you, and then lifetime value of the customer. You are going to be with me 4 years because you're here, and you're probably on the average going to come 3 times a month, times 3, that's 36. 36 visits times 4 years, that's 135-ish. Now let's take, what's the average ticket at Chick-fil-A? Stay with me, what, $7? $7. 7 times 135, Ron, is what, close to 1,000?
Yeah, exactly.
So we got it. That, Brandon, each of you are worth $1,000 to Chick-fil-A. And they'll spend $5 on marketing. Will they spend $100? Still good return on investment. It takes most of us a long time to figure out those numbers. Okay? Takes us, but your costs, okay, are related to your key activities. What are your costs going to be? Okay? And then the last thing, the customer relationship, we were saying loyalty. If you're selling candles, that's a one-up impulse purchase. That's a different client relationship than Chick-fil-A loyalty, right? Wealth managers, that's a different relationship, and that's a different channel of client discovery and how long it's going to take to close you as a client than it is to get you to buy for fast food. So customer relationships, we want you to think about the cycle. It goes from somebody discovering you to purchasing, and how those are different depending on how much trust, how much money, or how much time you're going to ask me. So those are things that we can learn about. Okay, so the key thing with the business model canvas is that you can learn all about it. Everything changes. Get used to it. The more conversations we have, the better we get at this thing. Premature launch is like all things premature, less than satisfying. Don't go to market without the resources. People launch things and they don't have the cash. Keep it in a beta, validate it, test it, okay? Because we can give you all the resources in the world if it starts blowing up, right? Who cares if you don't like numbers? Track key activities, test conversation. And what are you waiting for? One precious slide. The business model generation, I think the first 71 pages are online for free. You should all get that. If you want to work through your business model canvas, my team knows how to do these here. Get an appointment at the launch pad. Every Monday, lots of good things are coming up. Some of you know I'm going to Asia for 4.5 weeks with my daughter. I am leaving on Thursday, okay? So I will be gone the next 4 weeks. So on Mondays, I have rock stars coming in. For the next 4 or 5 weeks, do not miss a Monday, because they're going to walk through how to validate this, and they're going to walk through bootstrapping or equity. Okay, thank you for your time. And John?
So afterwards, we always like to have a little tradition here. We take a photo for Instagram in front. Any of you would like to get signed up for the newsletter, please see myself or someone else who wants that. If you want to get signed up for coaching and get involved here, please see Shakira.
Yes. So if you were really inspired by the seminar, come see for me for an appointment and get started. There's no
Okay, let's get a picture. Come on, let's go.
Give me the picture, please stand to the front of the room. Thank you.
Yeah, I can help you right here. But first, you should take the picture.
How we doing? Woo! Yeah, push these back a little. Hey guys, we love each other. Come on.
We're all students here.